Hi, this is Nurse Angie of Nurse Angie Reviews and Adventure. We're in section 14 of the Calvary project, and this is the final section. So let's see who we have here today. Yeah, today's a nice sunny day for November. We do have wind again. The sun is bright. It's actually kind of warm. Okay, we have some older headstones that has fallen over and are getting covered with dirt, grass. And with this being November, we do have leaves falling. Now in this section, it seems like they have headstones going in two different directions, which is really weird because we got these that are upside down. The first ones we looked at are upright, and these are back upright. It's kind of weird that they would do this. And this section is quite hilly. You can see the hills here. So I'm going to do my best because, like I said before, I'm not a mountain goat, I'm a person. Okay, here's a headstone that's old, and it is getting covered up with dirt and grass. This is like an older section. Here's a headstone that has sunken down into the ground, and you can see damage where the lawnmowers have hit it and chipped the stone. This one has sunken down. So in this section we've got some nice mixtures of older graves and newer graves. And I'm sorry if things are kind of shaky because I am walking down a hill and it's holy. No pun intended there. Here's an infant grave. Looks like it's from 1888. We got some older headstones here. On this headstone it says Mama. Here's some headstones that are facing, you have to face east to read them. Some are, you have to read them by facing west. And I'm sure there's more headstones that have been covered and you can't see them. Like here is some more that you have to stand facing west to read them. And these here you have to stand west to read them. This one's starting to get covered up. So we walk over here. Here's another one that's been getting covered with dirt and grass. And by the looks of this may have been a child. Here are some of the older graves I've seen here in this cemetery. And here's children. Here's a headstone that's getting covered, and you can hardly read it because of age. Even zooming in, you can hardly read it. Here's some more headstones that are disappearing. Here are headstones that driving by, you don't even know they're here. Here are some headstones that have been covered up with leaves. I have kicked some of the leaves off of these headstones so they can be somewhat seen. I wish I had a rake or a leaf blower to help clear them off. The only way you can possibly find them is by looking for the holes or stepping in them. Here's a headstone that is disappearing. Here's another one. As you can see, there's some graves up there on the hill, which I don't think I want to really attempt to climb. And you see there's a fresh burial there. All the flowers have been there since before Halloween. So it's been a good 3 weeks. And the canopy is still sitting here, which has been sitting here since before Halloween, and they haven't even moved it. Okay, here are some more graves. The headstones are sinking in, and they are switched back and forth again. So you have to be facing east or west to read them, or you have to see them upside down. You see these old headstones. They're disappearing. And you see somebody actually put some flowers on this grave. Some headstones that are disappearing. I did see a giant headstone with a last name Kroger on it. I wonder if this is a large family area that the family is buried in. I think I already showed this section here. You see how they're facing. Which is weird. And here's how I'm finding the headstones are being buried. Is you see the holes? That's the only way you could tell if they're there. This is being covered up. Right here. And you could tell this is a bigger headstone that is being covered. Here's a headstone that is fallen or is covered with dirt. Here's another. And I mentioned to you about the name of Kroger. Here is the headstone. Here's another Kroger headstone that's almost gone. Headstone disappearing. Here is the hill that I'm walking on. Now, can somebody comment on how they get people buried on the side of these hills that are so steep? You see this headstone right here, or marker. You see it's been broken, and the top's laying right next to it. There's more headstones on the side of the hill. There's section 15. As you can tell, that is a pretty steep hill, and yes, I did climb it. It was not easy. This must be a family section because there are a lot of Omers. Here is Nicholas Omer's grave. And he was the designer of Calvary Cemetery. I wonder how he would feel if he's seen how his cemetery that he designed is looking today. This looks like another child. Headstone is disappearing. As you see this monument here, the top is broken off. And they have not even tried to fix it. Here are some more old headstones that you can't even read them anymore. And they're disappearing. Here's another one. There's a headstone. This says grandmother with nothing else. Here's a headstone that has disappeared. Maybe I can uncover, see what we got here. Okay, we do got the name. It's covered up with leaves, and you can see dirt's coming in on it. That family does have a giant monument here. Here is a veteran. I'm not sure where his brother's located, but he's a veteran too. Give me a second to read. A headstone that is disappearing. I've seen quite a few of these headstones, but they have fallen, gotten buried so much. All you see is the cross and the crown. You don't see any names of the names of birth and date. Here's a headstone that has fallen, has been broken. Not sure where it's supposed to be. And here's an infant. Here's a headstone that has fallen, it's getting covered. Same right here. Right here. I know this is on a hill, but we could at least try to keep these headstones nice for the families. Here's another headstone that has disappeared, practically. There's another one. And here's another one. There's one, two, three there disappearing, and I'm sure there's more right there. I showed you of a headstone that you can't see them have fallen over and been covered. Here's what I mean, where you can't see the name of the date. You just see the cross and the crown. And I bet this is the other brother that was a veteran that we talked about. And I am walking up the hill. So yes, things are not going to be quite as steady, which I'm trying to do. The ground is soft. And here's the headstone that's basically almost gone. Here's our headstone was disappearing. Another one. And I can see there's probably more down through here that you can't even find anymore because they've been covered over. Here is another famous person from Dayton. Brewers. And here is his headstone. And it looks like this is family here. And here is another brewer from Dayton. John Casper Findler. And I have help today by Mr. Squirrel. I'm sure he's finding some walnuts. Here's the top of this monument. I am now on top of the hill. You can see there's headstones that are disappearing through here. And we have people walking out here today. Here's an old headstone that's getting covered with dirt. Same here. With this headstone, this is where Henry Hillsford, a brewer from here in Dayton, is buried. I want to give you a second so you can give it read. Some more buried headstones. And we got some over here. And right here. Some more headstones that are disappearing. There's a headstone that's disappearing and eroding. I am not going to walk down this part of this hill. It's just too steep for me. Here's a headstone that's disappearing. But you still read it pretty good. It's amazing. There's some more fallen over headstones. The squirrels are out and enjoying this weather. Here are some more older headstones. There's a tree taking this one in. Here's one of the headstones that have the cross and crown on it. It's obviously been knocked off its base, and due to erosion, which since it is still upright, you can hardly read it. Here's some headstones that are eroded and you can't read them, except for maybe the top of them that says the names. This headstone's disappearing. You can see a little bit of the engraving on there. Headstones are disappearing. Here is a headstone that has fallen. And it's like it's broken, which they don't care about. People who know me know I can be very blunt and honest. And I am. I'm being very blunt and honest. This is disrespectful to people's loved ones, no matter how long they have been gone. There's a headstone that has maybe slid or possibly been knocked off its pedestal. Here's one that's getting covered up. And here's one that has fallen. And they're just leaving it. And as you can see here, zoom in, that headstone has obviously been hit and moved. Sorry, I don't believe that does it on its own. That was definitely hit and moved. Disappearing headstones. If you look down through here, you can see those little indentions. Those are headstones that are disappearing. And you do see more black walnuts. Very dangerous to walk on, but the squirrels love them. So obviously the squirrels aren't doing their job very well. Okay. But you think there's a headstone right here. And as you can tell, it is disappearing. Here's another headstone. One here. There's one here. And there's one right there beside it. And over here, they're disappearing. Here's a disappearing headstone. Here. Here. You can see this gentleman's headstone is disappearing. Mr. Butts. And it looks like this is a fairly new signage here. You can see there's a headstone there. That's disappearing. Let's see, there's more headstones here. What's making this rough now is not just being on a hill, the soft ground. We even got the walnuts. Here are some headstones that are disappearing. And this monument is broken. The top is broken off and it's laying right there on the side. That monument here is quite interesting. I'm not sure if you can hear that or not, but Carillon Bells in Carillon Park is ringing. And we do have UD close by, and there's a marching band competition going on. I am now on the front half of this hill, and no, I am not going down it, but there are graves down there. But how did they put these people up here on the side of the hill? And you can see these tombs here. I think that's what they're called. You see one's kind of breaking. And one of them, I'm not sure which one it is Dayton's last gypsy king. He was in our very first video. You can see some of the headstones down there. There's one that you can see, not covered up with leaves or disappeared. And there's some more. Disappearing headstone, all you see is the top. Same here. This headstone has fallen, it's disappearing. And this person looks like may have been a military vet because it said died in service. Here's another headstone. And we got several here that are covered. But somebody left some flowers on this one. And on that headstone, which is also disappearing. And on this monument, this person actually has R.I.P. I guess they wanted to stand rest in peace. First time I've ever seen that. Disappearing headstone. Here's a clergy and religious leader. And here's his grave. This headstone has been moved. And it's a mother and baby. Here are some headstones that have been moved. Some more that have been disappearing. You can see here the holes, the indentations, and the leaves. Those are headstones that have disappearing. If anybody in other countries, I would like to know, are those cemeteries, or even in other states, are they being neglected like this one? There are more worse ones here in the area, but this is getting bad. This headstone monument is broken. See, there's the top part. Here is another business leader, Joseph Abel. Give you a second to read. And there's his wife. Here's the disappearing headstone. Disappearing headstone that is broken. Here is a disappearing headstone, and it's right this close to the road. Here are some of the graves on the side of the hill, section 14. I am road walking it. Here is the Gypsy King. He was mentioned in our first video. And we will have more Gypsy Kings and Queens coming up in our next series of videos. Here's a little bit, here's the story. So check out the first video to learn more about the Gypsy King. Here are more graves on the side of the hill. There's more graves. That looks like a veteran up there with a flag. Here's a headstone that looks like it's been knocked over. Here are headstones that are disappearing. And I do not know what's going on, but I hear a lot of motorcycles, possibly racing. Here's a old disappearing headstone. Same here. And same there. Disappearing headstone. I actually had one person send me a message privately saying they did not like what I was doing. They said they did not want their family members graved filmed or pictured in any way, shape, or form. And when I asked them what's the name and where they located, they refused to tell me. So I have no idea if I did or not. But this is a public cemetery, so you can come through and you're walking them. And I hope family members of some of these graves I'm covering see these videos and get onto the cemetery's case about their upkeep. Here's a headstone that has been knocked over or moved off its pedestal. And I'm not sure if that's a headstone or the pedestal. Here's an old headstone that has a lot of erosion on it. You can see there's the hill, another part of this hill. And there, part of that is broken off. Here's another local famous person. He's a local brewer. Maybe a second to read that. Here's a headstone that has fallen over, been broken, and the top piece has moved away. There's another one that has fallen. Here's a headstone that's disappearing. And with these. Yeah, some of this is cut up leaves since it is fall. So they are getting kind of covered with that. But they're also getting covered up with dirt and everything else. Here's that headstone I just uncovered. It's definitely getting covered up. Here's another headstone. Another headstone. Another headstone. There's one there. Here's a headstone that's covered up. Another headstone. This one has been broken. There's more covered up there. Here's the hill I was on top of at the beginning of the video. You can see some headstones have shifted. And as you can see there's the Carillon Park bell tower as part of Carillon Park. There is another video which is over an hour long on Carillon Park and what is in it. Please check it out. And this concludes the Calvary project. Thank you for watching. Please leave any comments or anything. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one. Can't wait to do the next project. And it's going to be a big one too. Bigger than this. Alright. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell, and like to keep up on my adventures. And believe me, they're going to get busy.